What you put up with, you end up with. You teach people how to treat you. And if you teach them to treat you like a doormat, they will. Until the day comes when you just simply had enough and you won't take it anymore. And that's the day that your self respect is born. And then after that, hopefully you begin building the foundation of your own self love. Because that is paramount. Without that, you've got nothing. That is what allows you to set boundaries with people. Because if you don't have boundaries, man, they're just going to walk all over you. And it is a sad truth that unfortunately a lot of people allow this to happen because they feel like they are in a position where they have to serve others or something like this. It's just very odd. I personally think it's like a self-induced negativity that people are taking what was done to them from the past, like pain and trauma, and they're turning it inwards on themselves. And it's like a kind of an inverted type of coping mechanism. I'm not trying to analyze this on a psychological level, but to my understanding, it's just more like self-abuse. They just feel like, well, this is all I've known. This is comfortable. This is normal. So this is what I'll allow to continue. Not realizing that this is abnormal. This is uncomfortable. And there's nothing beneficial from this to allow somebody to abuse you. You've got to set clear and concise boundaries with people that you tell them in no uncertain terms, you are not allowed to cross that line with me, no matter what. Because if you don't have boundaries, man, you don't have anything. Like I said before, you teach people how to treat you. And if you teach them to disrespect you, they will. Until the day comes when you just say to yourself, I love myself enough to say enough is enough and I'm done. And that's when you put your foot down, and that's when you put one foot in front of the other, and you just walk right out that door and you're gone. And that person that you once were is no more. And that is the birth of a brand new you and a brand new tomorrow for all of you that are listening. If this resonates with anyone, man, embrace it, because that's the purpose of this video and the premise of my channel, in the hopes that these things resonate with you on some level, or maybe it get you to think about things you never even thought of, or see things a certain way that you've never even would see before. That's the whole intent of this channel. But I've seen it too many times where people are just so willing to lord their energy over to others and just get abused. I mean, sometimes even physically, man, and they just stay because they see something in that person that nobody else sees, that they saw maybe 20 years ago. Like, oh, I know that he's going to change. He used to be so beautiful. He used to treat me so wonderfully. So I'm just going to stay in this toxic interaction because it's not a relationship. And I'm going to wait for him to turn into the person that I once knew he was many years ago. I saw a light in him back years ago and I know it's still there. So I'm not going to give up hope on him. No, it isn't going to happen. That person needs to recognize a change within themselves and a necessity for change, or else it's not going to come. It's not going to arrive. And if you continue to allow this person to abuse you by enabling it and pacifying it and condoning it and protecting it and defending it and making excuses for it to allow it, then it's a free-for-all. And then you just can't sit back and blame anybody else. I'm not saying you should put a blame on yourself, but you have to accept responsibility for your own actions as to why people treat you the way they do. If you're allowing it and you're dealing with people who are negative and abusers, that's what's going to happen. I remember this movie once. It was a spoof on a famous movie, like a cop movie. I'm not going to get into the titles of it. I don't want to get into copyright infringement. But it was a spoof. It was a satire. And at the end of the movie, the lady was like, you use me for this, you use me for that, you use me. What kind of man are you? And he looked at her like, I'm a user. What do you think? I mean, if that's what you're dealing with, that's what you're going to get. What you see is what you get more often than not. If you really listen, people will tell you about themselves. You really need to listen, And if the person that is telling you about themselves is telling you that they're an abuser, it's time for you to hightail it out of there. Because you teach them how to treat you, and they'll treat you exactly the way that they feel that you should be treated. And it isn't going to be beneficial to you because you deserve better. You deserve the very best that this universe has to offer, and then some. But it's up to you to convince yourself of that fact I can't do it. God can't do it. And none of your friends or family can do it. Let me tell you something before I cut this video out. You cannot save someone from themselves, but you could most certainly ruin your life trying. But if the person you're trying to save is yourself, then you have to go all in with the effort. If you're not willing to make an effort, then nothing will be done. And that first step is like recovery from alcoholism. You have to admit there's a problem first. And then the next step is to go about rectifying it and resolving it in your own personal manner, of course. That's why I don't give step by step, 1, 2, 3, 4, you should do this, you shouldn't do that. I'm just making suggestions as to what I've experienced in my life in the hopes that it can help you with yours. That's all. But you teach people how to treat you. There's no way around that. And if they treat you disrespectfully, that's because on some level, somewhere, you're allowing it. And if they continue to do it, then you are enabling it. And to be an enabler of a malignant narcissist temper and attitude and behavior and abusive posture and demeanor towards you, that is not good on any level. Irregardless of who they were 10 years ago, that person is gone. The person that you see before you is the person that they are. That's why I say it's very important that you take those rose-colored glasses off and see the entirety of the individual. To speak only the good of someone, you're not even looking at half the picture. You're looking at 1/4 of the picture. Speak the truth and the reality of somebody. This way it allows you to see the entirety, the full panoramic spectrum of that individual's character. Let me give you a quick example. Imagine you're watching television and you take a piece of cardboard and you cover up 75% of the screen and you can only see a little sliver on the side. That's exactly what you're doing if you're consciously choosing to only view the good in somebody. And conversely, it's not good to only see the bad in someone. See them in their entirety, the reality of their truth, good, bad, and everything in the middle. See them as they are. All of their actions, everything they've said to you, everything they've done, all right there. You can't cherry pick this stuff because you're going to find yourself in a really bad place. You know, trust me, man, it's not a healthy place to be. You deserve to be loved. You deserve better. And if that person isn't giving it to you, give it to yourself and then go. And that's just, it's as easy as that. Because if not, it's just going to be more of the same. Trust me, I've seen this so many times. I'm not going to mention any particulars, but I've seen this down throughout my life so many times. And it's never a healthy interaction. It's always toxic. It's always a one-way street. You have the abuser and the abused. There's something that's called the rice experiment. You should look it up on YouTube. A Japanese scientist came up with this many years ago. He had 2 identical jars with 1 identical bag of rice. Same rice, 1 bag. He divided, he cleaned it, he washed it. He put a half of it into 1 jar and half into the other. Keep in mind, it's the same bag of rice. And 2 identical jars with 2 name tags on each. One said positive, one said negative. And what he did was he focused all of his positivity on the one. And I love you, you're beautiful, you're awesome, you're very special, and all of that. And then to the other one, I hate you, I want you dead, all of these things. Within less than a week, the jar that he focused his negativity on was molding and decaying. And the one that he was focusing his high vibrational positivity on looked just like the day he put it into the jar. If you don't believe me, go check it out for yourself. That is the power of energy, either creative or destructive. So you have to make a conscious decision. Do you want to stay in a relationship that's toxic and detrimental, that's offering you nothing but pain, misery, suffering, and heartbreak? Or find a way out? Instead of finding excuses to stay there, give yourself one reason why you got to get out. And then follow yourself. Follow your own advice because your angels are trying to get you out of that situation. God bless you and God bless your journey. You deserve better.